There we go.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Surviving.
Yeah. How's the apocalypse?
Hey, so far it's been interesting. I've never spent so much time with my kids.
Right. So much family time.
Yeah, so I'm learning a lot about my own kids. I had
Yeah.
no idea my son's favorite color is green. Oh, he just changed it today. Damn it. How are you holding
Perfect.
up?
Good, man. Good. Doing these live streams been keeping me sane for sure.
Yeah.
Keeping us busy. Yeah, I wanted to have you on and talk about a little bit what you're dealing with because we caught up last week and same issues, right? Like, I mean, I talked to about 24 companies last week before I talked to you, and you coming in as someone who like works with multiple companies, right? We had like a really frank and open discussion about that. And since then, I mean, I've been wanting to have you on and talk more about, this pandemic stuff, man. Like it's hitting people for real, right? Entrepreneurs and innovators, especially, who had plans to grow, who had plans to hire, who had plans to get investment money coming in the next 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these plans have been wiped away.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And even with you just launched a freaking incubator meant for people of color, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about that struggle. You came on the Blue Max podcast to talk about that as well. I mean, about how of an issue that was to get up and started. So you, as an investor, you're kind of a startup as well, right? In this incubation space, working for people, helping companies grow.
100%.
And this is a huge disruption for everybody, but I'm really interested in hearing on how you're pivoting behind this model, right? And what lessons you have to share and what people can learn from you.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out Henry. What's
up, man?
Can you tell me your tiny big party? Yeah. This is a new norm, guys. No more hiding kids in the background. It's like they're part of the ecosystem now. The young CEO right here.
Absolutely.
Doing their thing.
I think Mohan from Good News Ventures has joined us as well. Paper Claims Group. What's up, Matt?
Just go do what I tell you to do. Go.
Mom said also that wait for the mail to come.
Just go do it.
The mailman to come.
The guy's coming at 2 o'clock. So
Bald is live. Yo, I don't have got a chance to shave yet.
Listen, this is the most I can grow. I'm not blessed.
This is my crisis beard right here. Right? I'm gonna take this time, the opportunity to grow this out where no one can judge me.
Yeah, this is literally a week. That's all. That's as sexy as it gets, bro. So anyhow, talking about work, it's really interesting because we started this incubator. We knew the biggest challenge was to get people of color, new immigrants, the female founders we're working with, in front of the mainstream, and create that interaction, right? In a boardroom, in a coffee shop, whatever it is, where they get to really learn the personality of these founders and not judge the book by its cover, which is sort of the problem we're trying to take off. Where like you perceive when you look at a female founder that she's not going to be a good leader until you hear them present. You're like, oh, frick, this is a super smart, talented, down-to-earth human being. Or you look at a person who's brown or black or Asian, and you think there's a language issue or this and that, and sometimes some of the limitations that we think we have, once we get going, we're really good at it. So all of a sudden, all of these in-person meetings went to zero, and we're like, damn, man, because virtual pitching is cool, but it doesn't bring the emotion across, which we needed to get past the first hump of the limitations. And so that's been really challenging. But on the flip side, I think we sort of said, okay, if we can't meet people, then how do we create a new way to sort of bring our personality across? What other training can we bring? What practice can we put into place? Because we never really practiced digital pitching. We always just practiced in person. Giant TV, a clicker, laptop hooked up, and we're talking, right? So now we're sort of teaching the companies that we're working with, how do you come across in a camera? How do you don't put it like this when you're talking, put it back there so somebody can see your arm.
That's good, yeah.
And, your top half is as important as the way we normally talk. Hey man, this is my company, So all of these things are we never really had to to care about. Now we need to care about. And things that we didn't plan on teaching, we kind of have to figure out how to teach.
Yep.
So what you're doing, I'm doing this like 3-4 times a day with our founders, where we're like, okay, let's go pitch, turn the camera on, and let's figure out how to speak to the room. And it's interesting because I go through Keith is right. It's a paradigm shift. I go through the same thing because I've been an MC most of my life, rocking parties, right? 30 people, 100 people, or DC Fest, 100,000 people. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But when I shifted to a vlog or a podcast, I sucked. My energy level was so low because I can't MC by myself in a room.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn how do you come across, how do you present, how do you share when there's no audience that you can see or feed from, right? So that's been really interesting as a shift for us, and I think this is going to be the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And as we move forward, where people are going to get used to the idea that we can get more done virtually than in person.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. This is the conversations that I've been having that has evolved exactly like this. Last week, everyone was talking about, what can we do? What do we do?
Yeah.
Then by the end of the week, it was what can we do based off the constrictions we have right now? And now it's okay, what can we do more of?
Yeah.
And that's been what it is. I remember having a conversation with founders day one, right, of the pandemic, right on last Monday. And Axel on our live, we talked about this, with Nathushan from Paper Pains Group, about do we act like everything's normal and try to go about things? Or do we, try to go into this paradigm where things are virtual and everyone's going through the same problems that we are? And a lot of entrepreneurs are like, you know what, we got to pivot.
Yeah.
And shout out to everyone who comes out of an incubator or some kind of pitch program, because you guys, people like you, Bala, and mentors, put them in the mind state of pivot ready.
Yeah.
And shouting, it really builds oh man, I can't talk right now. But it really builds a muscle for a lot of entrepreneurs to look at things as paradigm shifts, just like Keith mentioned. And a lot of people looked at this okay, what can we do next based on what we can do, right?
Yeah,
so that's when we started these lives. And the fact that you're teaching people how to do these kind of now almost virtual experiences, I think that, again, is a new paradigm shift, right? In the kind of skills required to communicate. So
part of it is I feel like this word pivot has got such a huge weight on it. It's hey, I've committed to going this way, and something massively bad happened. Now I got to pivot. I tend to think, any business that's trying to build something in the 21st century, you need to be in a constant state of beta more than anything. We never actually get out of beta. And we're constantly looking at tweaking and 1% improvement and shifting. And so I feel like this old school mindset of, hey, we're going to have a business, and at some point, oh my gosh, we have to pivot, and it feels like a big swing.
Yeah.
And it's an emotional swing versus if you start from day one saying, hey, every single day there's a 1% improvement, and it's an always on beta. We never get out of beta as a mindset, period.
So it's about not getting into a comfort zone, in essence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because pivot means that you've got a path that you're on and you're fixed, and this is where you think you're gonna go, and the world doesn't work like that, right?
Yeah.
And whether it's external or internal, great leaders look for that 1% improvement every single day. And for me, that is the purpose of leadership in a startup. You look for these 1% across the board, from minute little behavior things to massive organizational cultural shifts. But great leaders tend to live in that 1%. And when you live in that 1%, you don't have the space to pivot. You have the space to be in beta.
I really like what you're saying about that focusing on that 1%, because that's something that startup leaders have a lot of problems with, right, too. Because one day you can be working on ground changing, big moves in the company, big kind of decisions. And the next day you're working on very minute details on what SaaS tool to use for this or optimize this little process. And those shifts in responsibilities and workload kind of affects people.
Yeah, 100%. And we feed off the flow of life, right? I was lucky enough to train Aikido for about a year. And they teach you everything in Aikido is about learning the flow, when to push, when to pull, knowing every single moment you're doing one of those two. You're pushing or pulling.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just the dance of life, right? And so when we look at a business, they bring the same mindset. Every single day, something is being pushed and something is being pulled. And the sooner you get into that flow, the less you resist. And that's when friction creates challenges. And that's what we're doing now. You know, COVID-19 is pushing in some situations and is pulling in some situations. And instead of fighting those two, I'm like, where do I naturally flow? And
Yeah,
where can I, like, you know, find something in that sweet spot?
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, what are the challenges some of the people you've been talking to are facing, like post COVID-19 and going back to business?
Well, I can sort of share where you know where COVID and me and push and pull is happening now, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, when I look at what's happening in my own life, you know, I've got 2 little kids, and the school system is done basically for the rest of the year. Now we have a very interesting pushing happening. The push for the education accountability is now being pushed onto the parents.
Yep.
I get the fact that, you know, the government has released some online stuff, but having looked at it, they're not good. They're made in the 90s. Nobody ever market tested them. There hasn't been any sort of thought through in terms of the attention span and the evolution of like interactive education for the kids. So they kind of went, we have this thing, let's turn it on and like, here you go. But it doesn't work. And so I'm like, okay, if now we have this really interesting market where, you know, I did some analysis the last couple of weeks and like there's almost 5 million students across Canada. There's about 780,000 teachers and educators. And both markets are wide open. And it'll be wide open for the next 6 to 8 months, right?
Yep.
When you look at the players, because we've never imagined not having school as an option other than summer, the other players are not set up to become the primary option, right?
Yeah.
You can't afford an Oxford, a Kumon, or ICANN daily because you'll go broke. So there's a very interesting innovation opportunity to connect some dots to create not just revenue for teachers and supply teachers and people that want to teach, but we can now offer a different value proposition to parents. And so
Absolutely.
to me, that's an incredible, you know, reaction to a push, because I can either sort of sit back and go, these are the rules, we got to figure it out, or we look for that opportunity, right? We're doing the same thing in the music industry. Like, you know, I've been doing concerts and live shows for years and years and years. Everything is canceled. But never in my wildest imagination would I have, you know, imagined that like this one digital tipping idea that we had 6 months ago, that we were going to park in January because we're like, man, we have no idea how to get this into bars. We just signed up over 100 artists in the last week, all using our QR tool to make $25, $30 a day. But when you look at zero income to maybe $1,000 a month, that's a massive sustainability. Again, there's a market push. We're trying to find a way to sort of coordinate. So I think, you know, anybody that's looking at this kind of stuff, to blindly innovate is the hardest, most stressful thing to do. Right? It's like, here's a whiteboard, draw me something. I don't know. Do I start with a circle? Do I start with a dot? But if you look at your own life and you go, hey, what are all the things that were like going fine, and now it's being pushed or pulled, and I got to react? Well, then you start to think about innovation. And then the next level will be to go, well, who's already like 3 steps ahead that's already solving the problem that I can just join and build momentum for? I don't need to go start everything brand new. If nobody's doing it, then I can start and then maybe attract more people to come join me, right? So I think there's lots of ways to do it, but I think I encourage everybody to sort of just look at like, what are these things that you need a fix for, and then find a way to start from there.
Yeah. I mean, quite a mouthful there to digest, right? But essentially, it comes up to this, what we were talking about from last week, is that a huge market opportunity has opened up. Like a wave of disruption has been caused by COVID-19 that's opened up a huge marketplace of potential. One of the largest being, what are we going to do with all these thousands of kids now at home, and the parents need to take care of them while working, right? And it's opened up like a wave. It's forcing a wave of innovation. And it's funny enough, I've been talking to MPs, MPPs over the weekend, trying to schedule them to come on the podcast as well, but to talk more about what's going on and to find out that they've opened up a portal The Ontario government, Canadian government, and the municipalities are opening up portal system for asking citizens to come up with ideas, stating that these are the biggest problems we're having. Can you solve it? The Ontario government's one I like the most.
Yeah.
First, it asks for people to give in like goods and services, provide goods and services if you need to. Then it's like, hey, these are our three main things that we're looking for, right? Helping people with mental health illness virtually, right? Second one was I think medical technologies, helping with their supply chain. How do we get supplies moving back and forth? And the third one is connecting people to the professionals who actually have knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
And think about that. These are the systems that previously existed under old infrastructure that no longer can exist.
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about schools, the school system, and our struggles with it growing up on our podcast, right? This year. And we talked about, only the school system was like this, only the school system was like that, and it only can get better. But now, it does not exist anymore, right? So we're creating we have the potential right now to start a completely new system through this virtual format, lightweight and fluid, that can evolve to meet the needs that we needed to meet, right?
Yeah, and
So,
we don't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. We have to.
We don't have a choice, and that's the fun and scary part about this is, our backs are literally up against the wall in this new world that nobody's got a blueprint for, man. And if we looked at the old school survival of the fittest mindset, which is old and archaic, well, innovative thinkers, creative thinkers, people that can take chaos and turn it into something need to step up right now. There's no bad ideas right now.
Yeah.
It's new, uncharted land. And so instead of trying to be conservative and hold our ideas and like try to NDA the shit out of everything and trying to figure it out, my hope is more people would just sort of go, hey, I see this, here's a solution. Like open source the whole friggin' thing.
I love that. I love that so much. I think you really opened my mind with that last week when we talked, again, referencing that. When you told me it's like, me as an investor for the first time, I'm not looking at companies as ROIs on your revenue you're generating. I'm looking at what kind of impact can you do right now.
Yeah.
Now, how can you affect change in an environment with a huge marketplace? And a lot of people are looking at it like this. Like, there's a lot of people reaching out and working for free online. A lot of people giving away things for free. A lot of people, and not just like a commercial enterprise. A lot of companies and a lot of organizations out there trying to do business as usual and act like they're doing it for free.
Yeah.
But there are people who are genuinely coming together in meeting places and providing ideas, providing insight, doing consultation work, anything they can do virtually to really help us around. Yeah. Right.
And that's it. I think we need to encourage more people to create a blueprint for open sourcing. And there's a bunch of stuff that like people like you and me can't solve. I don't know how to find a cure. I don't know how to put on a lab suit and like go, help doctors. Like I can't do a lot of things that like frontline people need today.
Yeah.
But there's 90 other things that you and I can sit and talk about that's got day-to-day impact. Transportation, even something simple as like, how can we set up a new network of people with hazmat suits that can go and pick up groceries for us?
Yeah.
Right? Like, if Uber Eats and all these guys are no longer relevant because we're going to shut them all down, what happens with food and delivery and innovation? So there's so many day-to-day opportunities that everyday folks can just start with one nugget of something and then put it into the world, and then somebody will layer something on, and it might take 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then we get this magical solution that you were the impetus on. And that's what we need. I think we need more people to just be like 1.0.
Yeah. And well, people were talking about this for a while, about how a technology layer can be implemented in the world, right? A technology infrastructure. And that's essentially what needs to be done right now.
Yeah.
A technology that can provide supply chain openly over a distributed network, education over a distributed network, right? And just create these marketplaces where demand and supply can meet.
Yeah.
It's like just as free as it would be of going outside into like a school or into a mall and meeting people to transact with people, right? we need virtual structures online that can facilitate this, right, at the price of free.
And I agree. And I think, one of the things that we will figure out as humans is we still need human contacts. I mean, it took a pandemic to blow up Instagram Live. Like, I've never seen so much Instagram Live feeds in life, man. Like, and so
I would never be doing this otherwise. I would never be talking on my phone like this.
100%. So redefining our assumptions on what human engagement is really a critical question that we need to start asking across the board. Kareem, what's up? And Kareem's the next guy you should talk to, man. Dopest homie in the world, super smart. Before all this coronavirus happened, I hated looking at his feed because he'll be out at the gym at 5 a.m.
Jeez,
so
I like that.
He's a guy on discipline you got to talk to. But, what I've been thinking about a lot is, how do we look at these, like, human engagements that are changing?
Yeah.
We're not all going to be in bubble suits. And so, this new project, we've codenamed it Schoolio. And it's about connecting teachers and parents in a new online environment. One of the first questions people ask is like, well, if it's an on-demand market, how can my son or daughter establish a relationship with the same teacher every single day? And I'm like, well, what if in the new world that's no longer possible?
Yeah, or needed.
Right? If
Like,
the teacher needs to be the only person that can influence my son every single day, and that model is dead because they can't do that mathematically anymore. Imagine how awesome would it be if a bunch of amazing teachers can influence my son or daughter.
Yeah.
But we have to give up the notion that one teacher will create familiarity with the same kid for many, 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 many days. And maybe there's mathematical sort of scientific reason that makes sense, but our back's up against a wall where that is no longer an option, then we have to be open to new ideas.
Absolutely. And I think that's what it comes back down to. It's almost like we're going back, right? So I was listening to a podcast, listening to a podcast from Ravel, one of the co-founders of AngelList. I talk to him all the time. I can't get his first name right anytime, but anyways, one of the things he stuck in my mind about him is he was mentioning something about technology, right? It's reverting us culturally. Because we can now connect like this openly and freely, it's almost like we don't need to join these big infrastructure, these big organizations, and have these jobs, right, to feed off. We're all become independents. Independents who had to seek knowledge ourselves, learn for ourselves, right, hunt for ourselves, and do work for ourselves, instead of joining a company and working for them. So more freelance work, more entrepreneurship work, that's what the future of work looks like. And this working from home, this coronavirus stuff has just wiped the slate clean of what once was, and just opened that marketplace much more faster than we were ready for.
Yeah, and I think part of it also is like, having built a bunch of companies, I can vouch firsthand, the best companies I've ever built had incredible cultures. And to date, culture has been focused on being built when we put people in a room together, because we haven't figured out how to create culture remotely, right? I've had remote teams for the last decade, like offices in India, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and they've all been really good executional folks, but we never got deeper than like, I need something done, you do it. So if now the new world is, hey, culturally, we need to look at what is the new rules, and if you're gonna have a 20, 30, 40 member company, and we don't have the same beer Fridays anymore and the lunchtime hangouts in person, then how do we now move this online? And I think this is where, back in the day, my very first company we started was around this question of, can a pixel create emotions? And if a pixel can create emotions, can we translate that to sales? We created a 12-year agency with Blue Van, right? And right until the day we sold, we still asked the same question. Can a pixel create enough emotion for you to create a buying reaction, whether it's online, whether it's drive to store? And I feel like in a crazy way, we're back to asking the same questions. Can a digital connection create that emotional feeling that we create from being around people? And if it cannot, then how do we facilitate it? What are the tools? What are the functions? What are the technologies that we haven't invented yet? And I think it goes back to like creating new thinking around UX. You know, this model that we have is great because it's, you know, you're in a square and I'm in a square and the screen is divided. But what if it's not this user experience anymore? What if, you know, it's literally you and your full body sitting in like your couch and I'm sitting in mine, and we can really see each other for our full skull, and that creates a different emotion versus just our top heads. Like I think the thinking of UX is going to be really interesting going forward. I think technology and video is going to be really interesting going forward. And the best part is no blueprint, man. Like everything new is going to be extremely interesting.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's a really good way of putting it. Because I'm looking into like now creating a home studio, because I'm doing so much of this that, you know, I want to get a stand. Like I'm holding this with my hand right now. Like I want to create a stand where I can stand up and look at it. And I'm looking at it like, okay, what would the background look like? You know, instead of a home office or like a storefront. Yeah, I'm just thinking everyone's gonna literally turn like a room or a section or a place into a place that's gonna broadcast from. So they need to
show you. Look, this is my home studio where I've got all my turntables and stuff set up now.
Yeah, you got the full setup. Oh, nice.
So I've got like my old school stuff in case I need it, because I got a wall full of vinyls, and then we got all the new stuff set up here. I've got my laptop set up. Like I think I'm literally like, hey, how can I work? But at the same time, anytime I need to like just jump out and get creative, everything is right there. The funny part is like, I would never think about doing this kind of setup at the office.
Yeah.
Right? Like at the office, it's a clean desk, laptop in the middle, you go to work, because all this stuff is supposed to be at home.
Yeah.
But now I'm literally, I want to hang out with you, jump on, do some mixes, play some music, go have lunch, come back, do some work. And then like everything is more fluid all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Way, man. I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's more work-life integration than work-life balance.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything's kind of like seamlessly like flowing together. You just kind of figure it out.
Yeah. So I'm like, why didn't I set this up in my office? Like, why didn't I bring my DJ equipment? Like, because mentally I'm like, no, that's work. I gotta like go there and work. And then when I come home, if I have time, I can make music. And now this whole thing has caused me to like have more of a fluid life versus these boxes that I put myself in without even knowing I did that.
Imagine, imagine like the hundreds of thousands of hours people are saving right now not commuting.
Yeah.
You jump out of bed, hit the shower, and boom, you're at work.
And that's it, you know. And when we looked at like potentially this innovation with the school program, imagine now the kids, like their definition of recess and lunch is different. Like they get to study and they get to have lunch with parents, right? Their recess is maybe something totally different than what the schools will allow them to do. And imagine like little homies at 6 or 7 can do this with their friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a really interesting time. A lot of people are super nervous, and obviously this is a very serious disease and we want to be super careful, and like, you know, everybody should get through it together. But we shouldn't be afraid of questioning things.
Yeah, and not just questioning things, but like, looking for radical change.
Yeah.
Like looking at things like how could they potentially be? Like this is a time for where you can get like really crazy with ideas and experiment, because why not? Like we can wipe the slate clean. Why cling on to an old model when we got to wake up and live in the reality we're in right now?
Yeah, shout out to T, Bollywood 101. Shout out to Yan. This is great. Sorry, I just like doing shout outs.
Hey. Go for it, man. I think Tanishan and two Tanishans just joined us.
Nice. The one I know does Bollywood dancing. He's the best in the business.
Oh, nice.
Yo, start those classes, man. I want to sign up with the family.
Yeah. I think we're talking to the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I've been trying to get him on the podcast too.
Yeah, and you should talk to Jan, who's on there too. They got a cool startup called Procoli, changing up ways people are finding each other and etc. So rap tickets, man, like no more Raptors. So I guess in a good way, we're defending champs.
Yo, did you see that meme that came up? It's like, you know, we would win and then they would wipe out the NBA, right? Like,
yeah.
What to do?
Yeah, man. It's you know, I was telling somebody, so Daisy Fest won a diversity music festival award with SoCan. and they were like, you can't say shit until the word comes out publicly, right? And it's a big deal for us because when a mainstream organization like SOCAN recognizes South Asian music and artists, it puts us on a whole new level. So we like, we can't say shit, we can't say shit, we gotta hold it. And then March 31st was the big announcement, and now the SOCAN Awards are canceled, but nobody's responded to say if we still won. So I'm like, can I just get a confirmation that we did win so we can tell people? You know, and like we got a brand new office that we just signed up. People that follow me on LinkedIn know the bullshit we went through with the first office and the eviction and all this shit. Now we got a brand new office. Everything is done up and it's collecting dust, you know? So it's really interesting times, man. And I say people just got to be a bit more fearless in their thinking. Be practical in your day-to-day actions. You got family, we got to wash our hands, protect, stay the fuck isolated. But in your brain, you could be extremely fearless. It's your thoughts, it's your dreams, it's your innovation. There's no judgment. Go crazy, pick up some cool fucking problems and just attack it. Who cares?
Yeah. Speaking of that, what projects are you seeing that are kind of cool?
To be honest, I'm just coming out of like this dreadful binge watching COVID-19 thing I've been on for the last 2 weeks, man. Like I just, you know, with 2 kids at home and like I just went ODing on that stuff.
Yeah.
Usually how my brain works, like I go all in for a while, and then I'm like stepping out. So I'm just stepping out and paying attention. Like somebody sent me a link to a new system called Around, which is a new competitor in the video conferencing space. Really cool. Like they've taken this idea of a interface and made it into floating heads, and they've got AI that blocks out noises in like small group. It's really cool. I signed up for the beta. You know, we're talking about bids tomorrow on integrating our open stage into as many live music streams as possible, and that nobody would even like listen to me 3 weeks ago. They'd be like, "Who's this stupid startup? We're not interested." Now people are like, "Oh shit, you know, can we?"
Could you connect this? I would love to talk more about what they're doing, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, you know, I'm sort of looking at my own funnel, going, okay, there's going to be this much innovation. Most of it, I don't know how to connect the dots because they're not my problems. So then I reversed it and I went, okay, what are my problems? We need to figure out how to go get groceries. So who's innovating stuff in food delivery and meals? Because we stocked up, but like we don't cook at home. So most of the time we were like, hey, we can still Uber Eats even if it's a shutdown. But no Uber Eats. And so what do we do now, right? So food and meals is really interesting. Education. So how do we solve that is the next big thing for us. So those are the 2 that I'm like really focused on personally. And then with the accelerator, one of the things we're thinking of is like, since we can't do in-house, in-person pitches, how can we start a series of online pitches? We got to start training people to create new muscles on pitching virtually. And getting that storytelling when you have, you know, no way to feel the emotion. Because like, you got that poker face, man. If we've got like 3 or 4 of us on a pitch and we're stone cold and just listening, how do you react as a founder?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
you're feeding off reactions. Absolutely. Anytime you're pitching, not just for your startup, but even in sales in general.
Exactly. So I think there's a new playbook that's needed, and I think you should lead that because you know your background in sales and helping people grow revenue. I think it's amazing. So we were brainstorming this morning. We came up with this, I don't know, good idea, bad idea. Call it the first pitch, but a full online, you know, platform where anybody that's never pitched before can come in. We'll randomly select a bunch of judges, put together a Zoom meeting, and practice pitching. You know, you never know who you're gonna pitch it in front of until your pitch starts. Right?
Yo, let me know about that. I can throw that in front of a lot of startups who will be super interested.
And it's free. You know, we just want to get people sort of connected, and
that's big.
And from there, if you're like, oh, this is great, I want to pay for like one-on-one or support, etc. There's a whole bunch of people we can create a directory for. So we're just literally like starting from the bottom up, going, what are all the things that bug us that we can't do anymore, and then let's start with those as a baseline and see who's solving it, and then slowly just sort of, you know, stay aware. But yeah, man, I think that's the only way to sort of bite-size this thing without getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you think that pitching is going to change though, to what you're used to? Like, because one part of sales that has really changed because of the internet is more authentic, transparency, right? More about selling your values rather than some product or service, because people can now like Google you,
Yeah.
Google your business, get your reviews, look at your LinkedIn, see who you are, who you say you are, right? It's very hard to swindle people at this time, even before all this, right? Before COVID-19, I'm talking about. So sales has transitioned from an environment of taking advantage of people's lack of knowledge,
Right.
to being less exploitative and being more about, oh, what can I inform you about? And through my thought leadership, you trust me enough to convert over.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I agree.
And so I think now it's going to be a period of change where people have to become broadcasters, right?
Yeah.
Sales and marketing have to merge to become more of like sales artifacts, right? So like one of the things that I talk about in my company is that I don't like, as a salesperson, I don't believe, like historically salespeople don't like marketing people, or like the idea of marketing, because it's like, why throw money on marketers when you can just pay a sales guy commission? We'll go out and get you direct ROI.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
But like, how do we? I think it's that those skill sets are merging, right? That
yeah, they're merging, but they're not, right? Like for me, the marketing part has always been, storytelling. You never close the deal when you market. You close the deal when you sell, but you enable a sales opportunity by telling a great story. So
I believe sales has turned into that too.
Yeah.
Sales, what you're pitching is not a feature or a service or a benefit. What you're pitching is a narrative.
Yeah.
A story.
Exactly. And storytelling is what's always won from an emotional perspective. And I think that people buy emotionally first, and then they rationalize the decision to not return it. This is why buy one get one free, and the sales work, because in your brain you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this, and then I might return it, but we're never gonna return shit. And so I think if the two disciplines are gonna now like merge, because marketing and sales now both have to become storytellers because the platforms are the same, then we're gonna see some really interesting hybrid. Just like 12 years ago when I started Blue Band, the only reason we were able to get in and build that company was because there was a middle area between marketers and tech folks. And that was a 40-year-old industry before I got in. And then it was like, oh shit, we're not connecting. We need somebody in the middle who can just speak marketing and sales, but also be very technical. And then digital marketing sort of started happening.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we're in the same wave as like we have marketers and sales folks. We've got an entire process in place of storytellers and BDRs and all this stuff. But if they're now going to sort of merge or become some sort of a hybrid role, what does that person look like now?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's exactly what we're both getting at. And like I'm coming from a sales perspective as well, right? So I'm seeing like more of these open, transparent communications being part of the sales process.
Yeah.
Right? Talking about ideas in general as like you're selling the idea versus the product or service.
Yeah.
Where you're talking about things in a more long form context, have these open kind of transparent conversations as being part of your larger narrative, of distributing your narrative. And that's part of your sales cycle.
No, I agree.
So, I mean, when we started the podcast last year, I mean, that's kind of the process. How do we help start up the scale, right? So we bringing people in and having these long form discussions, I felt would help companies sell their values in essence. So merging marketing and sales into media, create media for yourself, which is more purposeful content rather than bland marketing statements. And I think so. Every company, I think Gary Vee said this, right? Every company needs to think about being a media company. So just like you have a sales team or a marketing before, you should have a media team, creating purposeful content for yourself. And that's what the podcast has become for me, and for BloomX has became through this, and now virtually it became a vehicle where we can now create media, purposeful content to sell ideas, right? Ideas like what you're talking about right now, about an incubator now being virtual and run and teaching people how to virtually connect, that being necessary, right? So how can we get more of this stuff out there? And I think it's by having these kind of purposeful conversations.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because it's exactly what we have, like, no choice now, because like when we launched the incubator in Brazil, it was built around face-to-face, education. We would go down for a week and train people, and then when they're ready, move them over to Canada, and it was all in person. It's all gone now. So we're actually now looking at a model where we can bring like a Zoom meets AngelList meets LinkedIn, and have foreign companies that can incubate with a Canadian incubator, but completely digital. And what we're doing now is what we do every single day. We have the same roadmap, a 30, 60, 90-day program that gets you from 0 to, A, and we work on personal growth, your storytelling, and your market fit. But we no longer need to be restricted by geography. We could be a global incubator supporting any startup that fits our ethos through technology now. And it would have been funny to say it out loud like 4 weeks ago to go, who's going to do that, right? But now this is the only way moving forward. Well, why can't we be a global incubator from zero? What's stopping me from talking to companies in Paris, from London to India to Africa? Doesn't matter. If you want our way of thinking, our blueprint, our style with North American meets rapid, revenue chase, then here we are. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people are looking into exactly this. Like, what about even looking into like people who are not innovators in the sense of, oh, I'm building a scalable business, right? There's a lot of people who live as freelancers who just trade services for revenue, who are now also hit by this. So I think a market's opening up for people who to trade skills just for the sake of working on impact. Sorry.
Yeah.
But one of the things programs I'm really interested about is this real push for UBI, right? Universal basic income. So if we can get universal basic income, I think this will be an amazing time. Because imagining having a huge population, right? Even if 80% of people do nothing and just chill at home, watch Netflix, if we can empower 20% of people to transfer to be empowered to not worry about mortgage, feeding the kids, feeding the families, or where bills are paid for them, and just being able to like, how can I improve things? How can I improve myself? And either learn new skills and apply them, or build companies, or work on projects. Boom, we have this marketplace opening up right now of innovation, right? I mean, Canada's biggest export has always been innovation,
right?
Whether it be in-house innovation or innovators that go around to other companies and help run them.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with that, man, because part of me is like, if this remote mindset and digital innovation allows us to service any market anywhere in the world, and you're not tied to getting into an office and working in a local market, then why can't you figure out a model that gets you the baseline revenue you need, right?
Well, that's what I mean. I think the baseline is going to be just a very little baseline.
Yeah.
It should be just enough. Like, even if it's like $300 a week or $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, whatever it is, right? That's just enough for you, to just live right now, right? You be comfortable. You're not going to be worried about starving. You're not worried about getting kicked out. Right, but like it's not enough to like be comfortable, to chill.
Yeah.
So if people who are looking at a mindset of like, okay, I'm getting X amount per month, my time is now freed up. I'm not worrying about day-to-day survival. How can I improve the situation? And that's really the benefit of UBI. It's a mindset change. It's changing the average income of everybody from $0 to $1,000, $2,000. Rather than like, if I don't trade my labor right now, I'm not getting anything.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
so
I think it's a great point.
People are looking into building infrastructure, building businesses, building scalable things, or building things that will bring them like a residual drip as well. It's like, UBI came from the fathers of capitalism. It's been around for people have been thinking about it for a few hundred years. And the real benefit of that is like, how do we get the masses to think about building residual income streams rather than trading direct labor for capital? It's been a big problem for a long time. Think about it. Even that's been new, right? Most people were like farmers raising stuff out of the ground before. Like they were pretty much freelancers. Right. Everyone is independent used to be, right? Only in the last 100 years, people joined these cities, urbanized, and start working for these factories and these big organizations. But now people are becoming independents again. If we can create a structure to take advantage of people's creative abilities, what can you create? I believe like the 20-80% rule can apply, right? 20% of the production from the percent of the populace will be so much that it'll cover 80% of the cost, or 80% of it. And that's kind of the metric behind it, is that if we can get universal basic income, if people can get $1,000, $2,000 coming in, they'll create stuff. They'll be free to create stuff because they're not worried about eating. They're not worried about surviving, but they're worried about, what can happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's something that we can definitely experiment. There's always going to be a portion of us where it takes very little for us to be comfortable, and then we just don't innovate. We all have a friend that's like that, and so your assumption on the 20% really is right. And again, it's new rules, man. It's new rules. I think a big part of like everything that we take for comfort and granted is now gone. Poof.
Can we talk about that? Like, what's like a scary vision? Like something that you'd be like, that could never happen in the old reality, right? That could potentially come to be. Whether it be changes in the way a schooling is done or how musicians are found, like from your point of view, right? Like what's like a super transformative change in something that could benefit us right now?
Yeah, I think for me the scariest thing is there's a generation of kids today that human contact and emotional contact is something that they're not going to understand. All jokes aside, like it was literally like yesterday, I went to kiss my little dude, he's 6, and he's like, okay. And then he's like, wait, grown up. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so imagine now, let's fast forward. How's it going to impact dating, marriages, like living together? What tests do people have to do before they find each other versus just like meeting each other? Like it's like relationships, which are core to human existence, are going to be changing, man.
Yeah, it's funny. So one of these quotes are really getting very popular. It's by I think the health minister of Alberta. I forgot her name, but she said this, right? Like right now we need to. Oh shit! What is it called? Now is the time to be together, even though we're far apart. And it comes to the point, right? Like you can be surrounded by neighbors right next door, and yet be so separated even more than ever. Like I used to joke about this before, like living in Markham, you don't really know your neighbors.
Yeah.
Everyone gets into their car and then they drive somewhere, they go to their friend's house, they go to a mall, they go to school, but you don't really see your neighbor that much, or say then occasional hi bye, right? You don't really know your neighbors anymore. So that age-old additive of like knowing your neighbors kind of gone.
Yeah.
And now more than ever, you are now being forced not to interact with your neighborhoods or your communities, your direct correlation. Now we're even more virtually connected to multiple people, but not physically, right? In the same geography. So things are changing in that kind of aspect. Absolutely. But I kind of think about this too, right? Think about like more before human history, before 200 years ago, when most people were living in villages, tiny villages of just 200 people, 100 people, right? Maybe even like you're living on a farm with just you and your family, and you never met people before. It's almost like we're reverting to that kind of mindset, that even though we live in this urban environment, we're going to be physically separated from each other.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate truth in all this, and we don't know how to predict the impact of that yet. I think it's something that we can't comprehend. Just like the generation that my kids are in, they're much more digital than I ever was, and they're comfortable in it. Now there's a new reality that's going to kick in, and then people like us, and you're not a parent yet, right? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, just froze a little bit.
You're not a parent yet, I think, right?
No, thank God. I can hear that in the background. I'm like, thank God.
Jeez, man, I'm telling you, like I have mad respect for teachers. I think your style of parenting is going to be completely different than anything I've seen, or even people in my generation that are just having babies. And so, yeah, man, I think it's a new world. I think we gotta go fearlessly into the future, knowing we need a new blueprint, no judgment, and we gotta listen to everybody's opinion, not just the academics and the smart folks, and really just have this open source mindset and a constant beta mindset, and then we'll come out of it. We'll come out of it in a new world, just like we always have as humans. And then we'll keep moving on. Like the greatest asset that we own, which is our resiliency and our ability to get through shit.
No, absolutely. That's pretty cool, man. But how, like, so you, when you're talking about this, you see this as the new normal, right?
Yeah,
And
100%.
so, right, like, school's done for the rest of the year. But do you feel like if we can establish a proper kind of way of functioning without the physical school, will that continue after?
So I think yes and no, in the sense there's still a baseline of education that most people can get by with, right? But there's still kids with disabilities, there's kids with learning issues, there's kids with, poor internet connection where something we're taking for granted is not available for them. So there's always going to be these outliers that need more attention. And today, the attention is drop them off. We'll take care of them, pick them up at 5, right?
Yeah.
Or pick them up at 3. So it's the outliers that I think we need to pay a little more attention to with care and thoughtfulness. The majority of the 80%, if we can use that number, of kids that have, normal learning capacity, can jump online, which is what their natural instinct is anyways, change our curriculums into a bit more of a micro bite-sized form fit. With parents adapting now to go, okay, maybe I don't need an office space. I can run Blue Band or Ballard Group completely virtual into a $100 million company without ever having an office space.
Yep.
I just have to tell myself that's my formula and then go do it.
Yep, absolutely. But for one of the also funny thoughts I was thinking about my wife the other day, right? Because we met when we were 17, and I'm like, how are teenagers dating right now? You know what I mean? I mean, it's just something we think about. Like, it's one thing to go to school. It's one thing to, find education. It's one thing to, have some stuff to do. But how do you date in an environment where you don't meet up with the person at all, right? Or very rarely.
Or, when I talk to my in-laws, for example, or even my mom, in 1975 when they got married, you don't actually know who you got married to.
Yeah.
Everything is covered up until the night of, and you're like, okay, nice to meet you. So maybe that's the version we're heading towards.
Oh my God.
Oh man. But yeah, man. Before they get too rowdy, I gotta bounce off.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love what you're doing. I think more conversations is fantastic. And we're all gonna find a way to find people that sort of feed us what we need to get to the next day. And then open source, be fearless, yo. That's the way to get through it.
Absolutely.
Your platforms like you allow these conversations to happen, spur some innovation, hopefully, and start getting in touch with people, man. Like everybody watching us should get in touch with you or me or somebody else to be like, I have an idea.
Yep, absolutely. That's the main thing. People with ideas get it together, and that's kind of marketplace we're looking to open up. And thanks, Sathish, for coming on and talking about all your ideas, man.
I enjoyed the human connection, and it's nice to see all the mutual friends that we have coming on. So it's really good, man.
Absolutely. Perfect, buddy.
All right, take it easy, bro. Okay, have a good day. Bye.